Hey everyone, Sam Signorelli, HOM Fencing. Welcome back to Can Haz Armory. Today, a video about repairing a foil tip that it has been jammed. What tends to happen on the older style barrels, the older Omens, FWFs, Ulsters, whatever, is the barrel is so thin that a good whack to it will dent the barrel, and that dent projects inside the barrel, and because the clearance is so tight, the tip will sometimes stick or even catch. If you listen to this tip here, that's stuck. Here, popping loose. That's actually stuck. It's stuck down right now. So it needs to be fixed. Now, there are a couple ways of doing it. Once you take the tip and the screws and the spring out. One was with a mandrel, which I don't use anymore. It's simply a straight metal rod that fits in the barrel. You use it on a German tip. Pound it in there, you roll it around in a vise with a hammer, tapping it so it re-rounds it and flattens out the imperfection. That's a real pain in the butt to use. Also, if the mandrel gets stuck, it's easy to twist the barrel off, necessitating rewire if you're not careful. I prefer to use a reamer, which is this little tool right here, and it has a lot of cutting flutes in this side, and what I'll do is I'll put it in there, I'll rotate it, and it'll cut the imperfection out, and then I can get the tip working again. So I'm going to take this tip out, and then we'll come back and do it. Stand by. Okay, so before I start, on this reamer, what I've done was, it's kind of hard to see, I actually ground flats on either side of the reamer so I can get a hold of it with a crescent wrench. So I'm going to take this, the tip, the screws, and the spring are taken out, put it in, tap it into place. Now to the bottom, take my crescent wrench, go on the flats, and start turning it clockwise. I can feel it cutting away. And now I'm going to start pulling this up as I turn it to try and make sure it comes out evenly. There it goes, that's out. And now, because there might be matter in there, like particulates or whatnot, bits of plating flaking off, the part that got cut off, Q-tip with rubbing alcohol, standard cleaning technique. And there's some particulate matter on that. I can see the shining. And then air it right out. Put the spring back. Put the tip in, and you will see who's nice and smooth. So that is how you cut the imperfection out of a jam tip. And this happens on the old FWF Omen All-Star type tips. It happens on the V2s, the hardened steel. It's still the same thickness, it's still dense. It happens on the Belgian tips, the German point with the French retaining system. It rarely happens on the FWF extra thick barrels, the ones that are twice as thick here. So because they're so thick, the dent rarely ever can project inside the jam. I think you have seen it happen once at the level of stuff I armor at. But if you have a more traditional barrel where the screws stick out, or the flat Frenchy style screws, it's going to happen. And that's how you fix it. So, as always, happy armoring.